Hi, this is Kevin Deal. Today we're going to talk about the PrimaLuna EVO 300 Hybrid Power Amplifier. This is a very exciting video, and it's going to get a little technical, but I really hope you can stay on, because I'm going to have the designer from Jan de Groot from the PrimaLuna in the Netherlands come in and talk about what's inside here and why this amp and the predecessor, the integrated amp, sounds so good. In fact, the integrated amp, it has won more awards than anything else I've ever seen in my life. Dick Olsher said it is and he knows hybrids, back to the old Moscow days. Dick Olsher knows the stuff. He said, it is the integrated amp I have been waiting decades for. And the same thing with Ken Micallef from Stereophile. I mean, he's just, well, I don't want to get it. I mean, he's still using it. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, do they want to keep it in? Do they want to give it up, or do they want to leave it there? These reviewers can get anything that they want into their systems. And these are two people that I respect greatly. Both of these guys are heavyweights in the hi-fi biz. So why is this so special? And what makes it so different? Now, I want you to stay with me. Even if you don't understand, you'll get it at some point. It's because it is two products in one. On the bottom, this is the bottom with the base removed, okay? On the bottom, you have, in essence, a PrimaLuna EVO 400 tube preamp with its own power supply. It's a separate unit from the power amp section. I mean, it's got all the goodies. It's got the TACMAN resistors and the signal path. it is dual mono, all the way to the two toroidal power transformers that are encapsulated. It has balanced in with some of the best transformers you're going to find. Tinfoil caps. I mean, it is an amazing preamp. It uses all 12 AU7s. And the genius of PrimaLuna, by the way, is that the 12 AU7s are wired internally, in parallel internally, and then to each other. And what does that mean to you? If one of the tubes kind of goes a little sideways when it gets really old, you're going to be less likely to hear it. And it just makes the amp sound better. We'll leave it at that. So this is a stereo amplifier. It's 100 watts per channel, but it's 100 PrimaLuna watts per channel, just like the tube amplifiers. I've explained to you with PrimaLuna that a 36 watt PrimaLuna amp can absolutely smoke a 100 watt tube amp from other manufacturers, because power does not mean anything for bass, dynamics, or sound quality. If it meant anything at all, get rid of all of this stuff, go to Amazon, and you can buy a Sony receiver that's like 200 watts for a couple $100. Is it going to sound better than this? Is it going to sound anything like this? Of course not. So when you hear about this watt stuff, it's just like back in the 70s when everybody was talking about THD. Oh my God, this one's 0.4, this one's 0.2, this one's 0.08. I mean, I was there to witness all that, and actually, don't tell anybody, I kind of bought into it at one point. So you've got this fantastic preamp going into this power amp. Now what's cool about this and the way that they designed it is you have a separate preamp in your system. If this is going into a two-channel system, some tube preamps can have a lot of gain. They might have 23, 27 dB of gain, and that's a lot. When you look at a PrimaLuna preamp, they typically only have 10 or 12 dB of gain. What does that mean to you? When you plug your CD player into a preamp, you don't need more gain. Typically, you are attenuating gain. So having a preamp with 23, 27 dB means that you're just asking for trouble. And that means tube trouble, and that means noise. But let's say you've got one of those preamps and you want to keep it. Maybe you like it, and you want to be able to use these PrimaLunas. Well, they have two gain settings, high and low. And I forget what the specs are off the top of my head. We'll put it on the screen. But the beauty of it is if you've got one of these preamps that comes in hot, you're going to be able to use it and keep the noise floor low. How cool is that? Let's get to the features. You can run this with XLR ins, RCA ins. You can run it in stereo or mono, and it sounds better in mono. And I'm going to explain to you why in just a minute, because I'm going to bring on the man, Jan de Groot. Before we go there, though, I want to tell you one more thing. This has a 12-volt trigger. That was there's two reasons that PrimaLuna came up with this product. One of them is, PrimaLuna has always said to you that you can own a tube amp. We've designed tube amplifiers that grandma can own. And we've got plenty of grandmas that do own them. But some people, they cannot, for any number of reasons. Maybe they just don't want to have a tube amp, but they want that sound that everybody craves. That's why we came up with the hybrid integrated, and I think that this is even more important because this can be used with great big power-hungry speakers and home theater systems, just all kinds of stuff because of its ability to run in mono. I had a pair of these in my home, running them with Focal Grand Utopias, and it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I want to bring in Jan now, the designer of the solid state stage, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about it. And here he is, Jan de Groot, PrimaLuna's solid state engineer. How you doing, Jan?
I'm fine. Hi, Kevin. It's Jan de Groot.
Jan, one more time.
Jan de Groot.
Okay. Maybe in a couple of years I'll get that down. I don't know. I always butcher this stuff. Well, I want to cover the amplifier, which is, at least you, of course, you were involved with everything, right? But I want to cover the amplifier with you in a moment. But before we go there, I thought of something that I thought was interesting. This is the preamp section, which I already covered with everybody. And I talked about all the stuff in it. And what I don't see very often is these are the fantastic Swiss-made tinfoil capacitors. And you see those often, because I know we used to use Mundorf's back in the day, blah, 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 blah. But you see those often in the very most expensive tube components, but I don't see them that much if there's solid state involved. So can you tell us briefly why that is?
Yeah, if you are using a tube preamp, you're also working with high voltage. And to separate the high voltage to the low voltage of the power stage, you have to use high voltage capacitors. And thin film capacitors are the best sounding, and the special one we are using here are the best of the best. Very heavy sound quality. It's very, very good. And it's very important that we cut off all the DC before we send the AC signal to the power amp. Otherwise, you get an amplifier into protection. So the used capacitor is very special, and it's also hand selected, and only the ones with the best tolerance are used in this part of the amplifier.
Yeah, I mean, because you guys have a capacitor checker there, and I know that Herman would test them, even if we were running like 230 volts, if the cap said 640 on it, he tested at 640 because that's what he was paying for, and that's what he wanted to get, even if he didn't need it. He is so picky about this, and I guess what Jan is saying is you can't let DC pass through these because it's solid state, and a solid state amp can pass full bandwidth. And if you don't get it right, then the DC protection is going to turn on. Or if it's a DC coupled power amp, it could actually damage your speakers, right, Jan?
Yeah, that's correct. And the power amp is totally DC connected. So no capacitors at the input or in the middle or at the output. The only capacitor you can find is the special ones, the tinfoils between the preamp and the power amp.
Hell yeah, right on. Okay, now before we go over here, these XLR adapters, you know, I've seen products I've opened up, and that's what again, you got to know what you're paying for. Always look inside what you're buying. Use Google Images and find out how they're doing things. Some manufacturers will just use a jumper for the XLR. Some people will use a little IC circuit. This is the most elegant and the most expensive way. Would you agree?
Yes, I agree. And what you're looking at, these are the upgraded transformers, line transformers from the PrimaLuna series. So these are the latest version with handling high voltage, higher bandwidth, and also in the metal cap for shielding purposes. Very low noise and really state of the art.
Right on. All right, now I'm going to say one more thing. Because this is a true tube preamp and there is true tube voltage gain, John Atkinson in Stereophile magazine, when he reviewed the EVO 300, he talked about the distortion of this amplifier and that it is largely second harmonic. And that's the way a tube amp measures. Second harmonic distortion is less bothersome to the ears. In fact, I dare say it can almost be pleasing to the ears. And the third order distortion was just way down, 30 dB below, I think, right? The second order, it was way down. I mean, you'd never even hear it. And that's due to the front end that you guys are working with, right? Part of it. That's part of it. Let me ask you this, and this is what I want you to let us know about. The other part of how you got tube sound out of this amp is what you did up here, right?
Okay, the design is a hybrid. So we are using a preamp tube and a MOSFET power stage. But if you are using a preamp tube with 0 dB, it doesn't sound like a tube amplifier. So we have some gain, a special gain in the preamp section. And that combined with the gain of the power stage, that in total will simulate the tube sound at the output.
Yeah, and some of that is due to these JFETs, I suspect, right? Who makes these?
Linear Systems are making these JFETs. They are state of the art and brand new and low noise and two pieces and one metal cap. And these are the best of the best. And I think better than the old ones from Toshiba in the past, used in the mid 80s and at the end of the 80s and the mid 90s. These are better quality, and it sounds also better.
Right, right on. And then the output devices. And tell us about those, because you folks need to know what you're getting and why this is so important.
Herman, the owner of the company, is always looking for the best of the best available components in the market. And when we are at the point that we are making a hybrid, we are looking for special MOSFETs. And Herman found the special MOSFETs from Exicon. It's a special thing from Herman, and you can use the normally one, but they doesn't sound very good. These ones we are used from Exicon are also best of the best and also US made. Perfect for the job.
Right, right on. And certainly not cheap. Just like the capacitors in the power supply. I mean, look at this. These are all Nichicon Japanese, right?
That's correct. Japanese, and we're using 6 pieces per channel, 10,000 microfarad per capacitor. So in totally 120,000 microfarad for the power supply. And that's very much.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Man, now I see all these parts here. I guess, what the heck does this do?
Yeah, if you are using the hybrid in mono mode or BTL, then you are using the high voltage of the power stage, but it's too high for in bridge mode. So we lowering the output voltage a little bit with the special part of the circuit with all the relays and the capacitors, and lowering the voltages will protect the amplifier against power overheating, but still doubling the power, no problem.
Right, right on. And the thing is, you know, the point is that you folks spent the money to make this happen. Now, since we're right here, there's 3 different power supplies in this. And then this one is actually a dual mono power supply, is it not?
Yeah, it's a dual one put in one case because of the space inside the amplifier. And it works perfectly with a metal cap. It will yeah, keep all the noise in the transformer itself. And it's also grounded. So yeah, to have low noise, low hum, you have to use the metal can.
Right on, right on. Oh, we can't forget the AC offset killer. Now that is an exclusive design only used by PrimaLuna in their products to lower transformer hum. I'm talking about mechanical hum, dropping the noise floor, dropping the noise floor. Wow. I think we kind of covered a lot of stuff here. I think we got it. You know, the point of having you on here, was there something we forgot?
Yes, the LEDs of the power stage.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, and that's a big deal because I didn't understand it, and then Herman wouldn't tell me. And tell me what's going on.
Okay. If you are turning on the power amp, you will see on the power stage sections a lot of LEDs. And part of the LEDs are for voltage indicating. So if there is something wrong, you can check the LEDs. If they are running, then the power supply is okay. The other part is the LEDs used for the low noise current source for the input stage. And with the LEDs, we can reach very, very low noise current source. So to achieve the best sound quality, we use these LEDs for this.
Yeah, and when this thing's plugged in, I mean, it looks like a Christmas tree in a way. I mean, it's really fantastic. Yeah, I love it. 5 coats of hand rub finish. I mean, it's just, look. All right, Jan, I know that it's late over there. I cannot thank you enough for jumping in with us and showing that this is all original design. This is not buying other people's stuff and slapping your name on it. This is not copying things that have been done over and over, because there is a bit of that in this industry sometimes. It's all original thinking, and PrimaLuna has always been that. All right, well, look, I want to thank you, Jan. All right? Tell everybody I said hello.
Okay, now, see you. Bye-bye.
Okay, ciao, bye-bye. I want to thank Jan for coming in and talking to us and giving us the lay of the land. I just want you to know what you're getting for your money, and I mean that. If you're going to buy a product like this, I really suggest that you go to Google, type in what you're thinking about, and and look to see what's inside the box. Find a picture of it opened up. You don't have to be an engineer to understand it. I'm going to say one more thing. Make sure that you support your local dealer. It's critical. If somebody demos these for you, buy them from the people that did the work. It is very, very hard to keep a store open, and we really got to support them. Every town is better with a record store and a hi-fi store. Buy something that's going to inspire you. Buy something that's built to last a lifetime. The PrimaLuna EVO 300. Thanks.